Hello, my dear friends. I'm wishing you a happy Sunday. Today, like every other week, we are connecting with you. Today, I'm connecting with you a little bit later because I needed some more time after my travels to rejuvenate and settle down. So, apologies about day delay. However, I'm very, very pleased and very excited, I must say, that I'm connecting with you about something that is very dear to me, subject that has provided me with a lot of freedom applying it into my own life. So, anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you can hear me well. If you are watching live, please let me know that you can hear me and see me well. First of all, very quickly, I introduce myself. My name is Lucia Hoxa. I am a life coach supporting women all over the world, providing them with maybe new insights, the ones that they never had before, and that is just a very beginning of new level of freedom that is comes as a natural outcome of the work they do with me. I can say a lot about my work, and I always kind of introduce it very differently. But the main thing, what I want to say is that, I do what I do with a lot of passion, a lot of love, a lot of humbleness, and really respect towards all of you who are choosing this way, because I believe that we all deserve to live great life and the lives that we love and live them fully. So anyway, today very, very quick introduction, because there is so much I want to share with you. Today we will be speaking about patterns of behavior. And of course, we have a lot of patterns of behavior and a lot of strategies. Today I will be sharing about 4 that are very, very common, especially for women. So welcome, everyone who is joining us live, and also those of you who are listening to us from later on. I want to encourage you guys to comment, to ask questions, whether it's here in actual comments, or if you choose to send me a private message, please do so. Anything that I can support you with, I'm here. And what I want to say first of all is that the subject we are going to talk about today is something that needs a lot of level of compassion and treating ourselves really with awareness about the fact that we are human beings, and we all gained all these patterns of behavior over the period of long time. And so it does take some time for us to, first of all, notice it, discover it, and then slowly, gradually work through the process of transformation. But I can really say from my own experience, and I'm still on the journey myself, that yes, it is a journey, but once we become aware of it, and once we have those aha moments, and slowly, gradually, we keep on applying them, it does very soon bring us a new sense of freedom and lightness, and really that level of easiness in life, which I believe a lot of us are seeking for. So anyway, it is very much connected with the subject I've been talking about a couple of weeks ago. I've been talking about burnout, and I had a lot of viewings, truly, and a lot of responses to this talk. So I'm glad that yet again I chose something that resonated with you, and this is really just very much connected with it, because one thing that I mentioned in broadcasting about the burnout is that one of the key ways how to get out of it is to find out what is that very thing that drives us. What is that thing that how we even started getting into, habits of doing certain things that are driving us to actual burnout. But this subject is, of course, not only connected with the burnout, but a lot of you who experienced or experiencing burnout, I think you will find yourselves in one of these profiles, one of these patterns of behavior that are very, very common and connected with the burnout. So again, hello to everyone this Sunday. I'm sorry I've got little troubles with the light. I think I need to do something about it later on, but you know, you can see me, right? And I can see you. I cannot see you, but I can definitely feel you. So if you feel like saying hello, please do so, or send me a little wave or a heart. I always, always love that. Or even as I'm talking through, please send me again comments or even little thumbs up when you recognize something that resonates with you and that is making sense. Or even when you have like little aha moments, like, oh my God, this is me. She's talking about me. I have that a lot from you. Like, oh my God, you are talking like you know me or something. So I'm very glad I'm hitting that well in a kindest way possible. So anyway, I'm really hoping that this will bring a lot of insights and aha moments for you. I've got a little notes here, so that's why I'm looking down, because I really don't want to skip anything that is important or that can serve you. So maybe first of all I start with children. For those of you who got children or have been around children, which is most of us, my notice, especially children up till 3 years old, definitely. I've got one, two of those actually, and we notice with children the thing that they are so full of energy and they are so free from judgment or that sense of, oh, am I doing right thing, wrong thing, embarrassment, is someone looking at me now, am I dancing, doing the right moves? They don't have these thoughts, and the reason for that, and actually we used to be like that as a children also, is that up till 3 years old, then later on it starts building up slowly, but up till 3 years old, we just don't care. It's this blissful stage where whatever we do, we don't have the understanding for judgment of the others. And let's be fair. There is, children are cute, so they get away with a lot of things. However, after 3 years old, we start getting present to thoughts and judgments of others, and we start observing and distinguishing right from wrong and being praised for certain things and being being put down or told off for other things. And that's how the process of, very naturally, process of us discovering, basically shaping who we are, not only as a children, but it carries on through with us towards the adulthood. That's where it all starts, and it's a very natural process. It's a very healthy process. However, a lot of subconscious decisions that we make in that kind of age, especially leading up to teenage years and in teenage years, we later on discover in life that these decisions that we made about ourselves, about the world, about how we need to operate in order to survive, literally, and not to be harmed or hurt, those things no longer work, or they work to a certain degree, but they are actually harming us on the other hand. So we will be talking about the kind of strategies that we chose, often without even realizing that they're actually making us now as adult people very limited, feeling like we are very limited and actually not happy inside. So children don't have that distracting voice, and that's exactly what it is. As an adult, and please give me a thumbs up if anyone recognizes it, it is that internal voice that is saying to you, oh, you're not good enough. What are you doing? Oh, you've done a mistake. You're such a cow. that voice that is often not very kind to ourselves. We are often our biggest critics. Often is the voice that, if you honestly think about it, if you say that kind of things to your best friend or to anyone around you, even to your husband, you probably wouldn't even say things like that to them. But you often, and very probably on a daily basis, even some of us say those terrible things to ourselves. And that's the voice that, first of all, is very important to recognize that it's not the voice that is really ours. This sounds very strange first, but it's really the voice that is not very empowering. We inherited over the period of times, and it is coming from our so-called authorities that has been in our childhood at the time. So it's usually mom and dad, grandparents, later teachers, or boss at work. It carries on from later on. So those are the things that we either, some people said to us or acted certain way. So our conclusion was to we decided that whatever they are saying is the truth, and so it's not really our voice, but it's voice that we inherited from those people who at the time we respected or thought that they are right. If I give you example, is even the sayings, like money don't grow on the trees, or you have to work very hard to earn your money, or you know um, I had one of my clients who her father used to, obviously with good intentions, but say to her, oh, you will end up on the street, under the bridge. If you don't study, you are lazy. You have to work harder because otherwise you will be working very hard all your life and you will end up, well, he didn't say you will end up like me, but really he was thinking that. So in order to protect her, of course he meant well, but really this girl became extremely successful. She was very well educated. She had 3 universities, had very well paid job, high position. However, she had, the downside of it, although everybody's seen her very successful, the downside of it was that she was not happy. Whatever she achieved, she couldn't celebrate it. There was always something else. Anyway, I'm getting now into the patterns, but you get my point, right? The voice of her father was always there, because even though it was completely irrelevant, she was very successful, she was definitely exact opposite what her father was worried about, how she's going to end up with. That voice in her head, and the actual fear that she might end up that way one day, someday, the voice of her father was still relevant for her, and that was the very thing that was driving her. Of course, it's not only one situation of one person; it's a mixture of various things and people, how they influence our lives. But this is just a little example I wanted to share with you, so I'm not just talking theory. So, as I said, as we go through this profile and you recognize yourself in one of them, please, first of all, be aware that it took years and years and years for us to become who we are. By the way, we are great people anyway, and we don't need to be fixed or changed. But today is about, if there is another level of happiness or fulfillment and freedom in life, let's have a look at how to achieve it. So what I want to say, it took years for us to develop these strategies, these patterns, that some of them don't serve us at all. So please, please, please be patient. Don't panic and think, oh God, I'm doomed, I have this and this really fits me and I don't know, I have to fix it quick. Don't worry about it. It's a stage by stage process. What is very, very important is to have a lot of compassion with yourself. Anyway, I felt the need to say it again. So one of the most important realizations when I went through these profiles was that it all comes down to love, and compassion is very much connected with it. And realize that, you know, all those things that you gained from your authorities, your parents, they all meant very well. Whatever they said, however they acted towards you, yes, it impacted you in a way that, it causes certain amount of suffering for you now in adult life, and is also the opportunity to learn something, to discover, to transform and come out the other side, although you now need to put some effort into it, but it's all fine. And important is to realize that they all been doing it with good intentions, really to protect you, to make sure that you do well in life. So that's very, very important also to remember. And also, as we go through these patterns, it's very true that to a certain degree, all of them, it serves us. Even now, it serves us and provides us with success and, some kind of operating system that is keeping us intact. But, some levels to a certain degree, but from certain degree, it is no longer serving us. So it's really not all being bad. It's about balance, really. And that's what I will also want to say, is about balance and choosing what you want to keep and what you are ready to ditch, and what you see doesn't make sense anymore. So let's go through these 4 patterns of behavior. Let me just have a sip of my greens. One more thing. If you feel that you find yourself in more than just one profile, like you are thinking, okay, this is probably me, but this is also a little bit me, and this also resonates, don't worry about it. Maybe just start simple, start with one, and then slowly you will, you can work through the bits of all of them that resonate with you, that you find yourself in. So don't try to take it all, at the same time. It can be too much to digest. So let's simplify it. I try to be, as to the point as I possibly can, but also I want to give you examples to make it real. So first profile or first pattern of behavior, I call Mother Teresa. And maybe straight away when I said it's a lady who is always available, is always there for people. It's kind of a good girl. The good girl, she always makes the cakes for people for their birthdays. She makes sure everybody is fine. She actually takes a responsibility for emotional state of people around. If someone is not emotionally well or, sad, she feels the need to help and fix it. People love her because she's kind of rescuer. She's someone who rescues people. And she gained this, in her childhood. I've got one of, obviously I'm not going to say the names, but I've got one of my people, lady, who's got this profile, very much so. And what actually happened in her life when she was 3 years old, she had a situation where her and her big brother, there was violence in a house, and they needed to run out of the window to save their lives, or like to make sure they are safe, as a very little children. She remembers this, and that triggered a decision that, for her dad being such a strong authority and such a, at the time, violent man, she needs to be very, very good girl to make sure she pleases everyone, and make sure predominantly she pleases her dad so he's not angry. Sometimes this can be a trigger point for this kind of pattern. it's nothing wrong, of course, being helpful. It's very nice thing, and to a certain degree, it is actually beautiful trait for which people appreciate us. Again, there is also very important the balance. It's when it comes to the point where we feel drained by doing it, when we are doing it because really what we expect is something from the other side, is what she often feels that she often feels that she's in need of appreciation. Someone saying to her, "Oh my God, you are such an amazing person. You helped me." She what she really wants is someone to come to her and say, "Actually, what do you need? How can I help you?" But because people are so used to her helping others all the time, she occurs like she doesn't need anything, and she's always available, so people always use her help. And then she's frustrated because she's thinking, "Oh, when I'm there to help everyone, I'm such a good girl, why there is no one there for me when I need help?" This is often her kind of frustration. And a lot of times it's mothers who's been always there for children, always pampering them, helping them with everything, even when they grew up, washing their clothes and so on. And then suddenly kids go out of the house and she's feeling like, "Oh, now nobody gives a damn about me. I'm now growing old and they don't even come to visit." There are expectations that these people you've been helping, that they give you something back. And they often don't, because you look like you don't need anything. So the pitfall is that Mother Teresa is always here for others to listen, to help, to offer the shoulder to cry on. But really what she's craving for is her needs being fulfilled. And what she doesn't realize often is the fact that she doesn't even know what her needs are, because she's always paying attention to other people's needs. And also, even if she knows what her needs are, like for example, "I really need to sleep now," because it's quite exhausting to being there for others all the time. She doesn't know, even when she knows what her needs are, she doesn't know how to ask for help or communicate it in the manner that it lands with people that, she actually is in need of something important to her. Often when she asks for her need is from from point of, she's asking angrily, so it never ends very well. People take an offense, or there's an argument about it. Please let me know if this makes sense, and if it resonates with maybe someone you even know, or even yourself. So I will just briefly read how it shows up, this profile, and maybe you recognize it on yourself. So mostly you are dealing with needs of others, and not your own needs, or your needs somewhere at the very end. You also have a problem to create a space for yourself where you fulfill your own needs and what is important to you. You are confronted where a friend has got some need at the same time as you, and you always, of course, put them first, but then you feel angry about it. So it's not a happy choice you're making. You're also not sure what would make you happy. You are not sure what you even want for yourself, and you are hesitating to say it out loud. Like you can even say it out loud, or you say it, and you say it when it comes to there, and you explode like a volcano, and you say it in anger, like blaming others for not realizing what you want and need. You often also feel great responsibility, like the world is going to collapse around you if you are not there for other people, and you're complaining that people are relying on you too much. Very, very important. Your value in this pattern depends on how much you are there for people. Like you feel that if you are no longer helping other people or you are no longer there for other people, you have no value. So if people don't rely on you anymore and they don't want you anymore, although sometimes it gets too much, if they don't need your help anymore, you have no reason to basically be in this world. So in reality, you want the feeling someone relying and depending on you. A lot of times it's mums who, when children are up to 1 year old, they really, really need a mom. We are often breastfeeding still, so it's very natural. But after 1 year old, there is some scope for us to have, at least, lunch in peace or to have our basic needs fulfilled and some scope for going out once in a while for yoga or coffee for a friend. But if you have a, I don't know, 3, 5 year old child or children, and you still feel the need, you need to be there all the time, that's one of the signs also. Often these women are brought up by strong mothers, and what I mean by that, from cultural aspect, especially for us coming from Central Europe, it's a mother who believes that motherhood is a form of sacrifice. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a mother now, so you can't do this, or you can't go there, or you can't afford that, or just get on with it. You haven't slept for 2 years. Well, tough shit. You're a mom. Get on with it. Yeah. So often this kind of voice also impacts us as a moms, and of course our whole life. And then of course, woman with this pattern of behavior feels that life is unfair. I'm helping all the others. Why they are not here for me? Why someone doesn't rescue me, with me being a rescuer for so many others all the time? Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. So that's the profile, the first profile, and we've been talking about Mother Teresa. Let's go to a profile number 2. And the profile number 2 is very on to mine, or one of my strongest profile, hands up, I'm admitting it. And that's a superwoman. Now, it sounds super, but it's not that super, and I will tell you why. So this program starts in families where the importance is really about how we show out there to other people, how other people perceives us. But I also, from my own experience, I didn't have that much of it in my family. It can also be coming from the need to please our parents. So, when we've been little kids and we done something right, and, in my case, my sister was playing on piano, I was singing, and that was like kind of nice thing to do, and we've been clapped for it and we've been praised for it. You do more of it as a child, right? And vice versa. So it can also be coming from one or both parents, and either their comments or somehow actions that make you feel like you're not good enough. But either they tell you, oh, you're so lazy, or it can be innocent comment that doesn't even mean anything, and it's actually meant well again, but in your brain it sits down as a reality about how you are, and basically you then spend your whole adult life trying to prove them wrong and doing complete opposite. So this is how our superwomen being created. Again, it goes back to our childhood. And then we really become someone who care about what other people say, what other people think, about judgments of others. We often compare ourselves to others. As opposed to Mother Teresa, our value is on what we can do and achieve. which is accepted and appreciated from the outside world. So, in my case, from early childhood, I was winning competitions, tennis tournaments, that kind of thing. Diplomas from university, red diploma from university, maybe more universities. Basically, the woman who is superwoman, typical for her is that she's very driven, she's goal oriented, she's a high achiever. She is used to perform. Basically, for us, it's very hard being like not well or sick, because straight away we kind of go into that, of course, when you are ill, you can't perform on the top level. But because we are so used to, such a high standards we put on ourselves to perform on a high level day in, day out, that we don't allow ourselves to have a day off, like proper day off, when we just be, when we allow ourselves to rejuvenate and to, just to relax. She always also feels that she needs to keep on going in terms of her development, growing, educating herself, that kind of thing. So let's read about a few things that really specify this kind of woman. And I want to read it because I don't want to forget anything that might ring the bell for you and actually make a difference. So how she shows up, this superwoman, talking about myself as well. And I tell you a little bit later how this awareness of all this is changing, still being on a way my life as well and impacting my life. So she has a high expectations from herself and others. She judges others for being too slow and lazy. I actually entered this here as an important thing because, every time, and it's connected with a burnout as well, because every time people seem to be, slow or non-efficient or whatever, even my husband, for me, I know, like, I'm there again. These patterns of behavior, they don't just vanish. They sometimes stay with us, and I dare to say they stay with us for the rest of their lives, that we can't delete them. What we can do is to be aware of them, and that's the very key. And then, trying something new and having the new experience that actually shape the new brain patterns that hopefully will sink in, and that's the actual transformation we are going through. So she judges others for being too slow and lazy. She compares herself with others all the time, and a lot of times she's thinking, okay, I'm kind of, in her mind, I'm kind of like, I'm okay, I'm actually better, so I'm safe, I'm fine. That's where her value is, and where she is like really feeding really her ego. She also sets high goals for herself, which is, again, nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, she can never celebrate what she achieved, because there's always something else that comes. So she can never like just sit and look and enjoy, like, wow, this is really amazing. She never appreciates herself. And so she seeks validations from others all the time. You never hear from her sentences like, oh, I only want this little thing, or this is enough for me. She always wants more. She feels pressure to perform and achieve all the time. And this is very much connected with burnout, because she is literally incapable to relax, to rejuvenate, to, have a sense of enjoying the present moment, or just doing nothing for a little while even. For her, status is very important. So, to have some kind of job where she is labeled certain way, working for successful big company, blue chip company, or, having a position of some kind of power, managerial, director, being a director of some company, that's very important. That's the status her ego is naturally craving for. It depends really what your parents been praising for. If they've been praising you for being good at sports, you might be very successful sportswoman. and focusing your attention, achieving goals in that area. She also feels the fear to disappoint or hurt someone, mainly to disappoint someone. Like, she is not fulfilling on their expectations of how she should be like, or what she should achieve. So she really, really tries hard, and the less it works, the harder she tries, and the harder she works. She's got also tendency to adopt other people's expectations for her own. So whatever our parents been expecting from us, she adopts it as her own thing. And only later in life, and maybe sometimes not even then, but later in life, she starts questioning, like, well, is this what I really actually want? You know, doing this kind of job, like, is this still important to me, earning this kind of money, is this my passion? A lot of times I have clients coming to me saying, I don't even know how I ended up in this job. I don't even like it, but I'm doing what my dad said to me. I should go to university, study economy, and then it just went from there. I never even thought about what I actually want to do in life. So a lot of times we adopt other people's perceptions of what success in life is, even. So what is the way out? The way out is, first of all, identifying it and realizing, like, okay, well, this is something that resonates with me. This is one of the reasons why I'm sharing and broadcasting about it, because it's like, oh, I recognize myself in this profile. Because once you recognize it, then maybe you have that feeling, oh my God, I need to do something about it quick. Again, have a patience. You are a human being. Have a lot of compassion with yourself. It is a process of first identifying it, and then, having it in mind what you actually want in life, what inspires you to be instead. A lot of good things about this profile that actually you can keep, and that are great to have, but try to identify those things that don't serve you within this profile. It's not it's probably not healthy to go other way around when you become completely like, oh, it's not even possible, I think, for us super women to go other way around. It kind of feels dangerous, like, oh my God, if I like do nothing for one day, so much I will have to catch up on, next day. It's completely real for us super women. Is it real? I don't know. If we burn out and end up in a, God forbid, hospital for 1 month, world will still keep on going, I promise you. And your kids will be just fine. So yeah, first of all, notice it and start playing. That's the word I like. Start playing with new ways of being. It's not about what you do. It's about how you are being about the situations, recognizing how you used to be in unhealthy way, about that particular situation. Like, that voice in your head that is saying to you, I'm not going to eat until I finish this email, or until I finish this article or something. And, then trying something new, like go and eat, or go and have a sip of water, walk on a balcony to get a sunrise, have a break in spite of not completing the task yet, be okay with a mess in a bedroom while you are doing yoga or something, try different ways of being and see what works. It is a little dance, and but eventually you are going to find your optimum, which is going to be much healthier and support you in life in a much better way. Okay, next well, let me know if this makes sense. Tima is watching. Lucy, hi guys. I didn't even welcome you. Jana, Francisca, hi guys. Any questions or anything that you want to add, please do so. Swiftly, I'm going to go to next profile and guess which one is that. Well, it's Mrs. Perfect. This pattern is very, very common in women in Western society. you can imagine with all the media and all the pressure and comparison we put on ourselves, it's very natural that a lot of us have this pattern. It's often confused with a superwoman. And sometimes these two profiles are connected, but superwoman is paying attention to her performance, but often happens that she doesn't have to finish the task, but but and some things she doesn't really paying attention so much to detail, but perfectionist, paying so much attention to detail. Everything needs to be perfect, but not only from the perspective of outside world, it's more from her own perspective. So a lot of times she doesn't even start something because she's so scared of failure. A lot of times, she is so worried about being judged and criticized for something that she does because it's not good enough, it's not perfect enough, that she doesn't even start anything, which otherwise could bring a lot of value to people, but she's so worried about being judged and criticized. Yeah, and the truth is, I really like the saying that, when we do something on 20% and we put it out there, it's still got a value or more value than when we do something on 100%, but nobody ever sees it because it just doesn't exist out there. So, how do we recognize the perfectionist in us? She is very worried that there might be a situation where she will be judged and criticized for something she done wrong, because her standard of right and wrong is very specific. Other people would say, oh, that's good enough, like, well, you don't worry about it. But she's like, oh, no, what, are you crazy? I can't do this. Because her standards are very, very high. She is criticizing herself all the time and judging herself. It's only right way the way she does it. Lost the light. Can you still see me? So it's the only right way is her way. So it's her way or highway. She's very, very uncomfortable with other people who are doing it different, not in not good enough way, and she's very critical of them too, of course. She's using phrases as correct, incorrect, fair, unfair. It shouldn't be this way. She pays attention to a lot of details, and she often, like when she does presentations, it takes her ages to complete it because she's rethinking it, amending it, over and over and over again until she feels that it doesn't make sense to her anymore. Because that level of perfection, she rarely really feels that this is the moment where it can really go out there in the world. She's often from family of lawyers, doctors, teachers, that kind of thing, people who put very, very high standards on her. What is there is, again, it's profile that can serve you. There's nothing wrong with trying to do your best, but the thing with perfection is that it immobilizes you. It really makes you feel like limited in what you can even start in terms of projects or new things. It paralyzes you is the word I wanted to use. So if you find yourself in this pattern, you probably have a strong urge to do something about it right now. Because, again, you are not perfect. Please stop. Because that will be another, fixing it sign of you being in this pattern. It's like that panic, like, oh my God, I need to do something about it now. Do exact opposite. Just relax and realize you are a human being and all is well, and, it takes time, and having a compassion with yourself, slow down, but mainly realize that all is well. We are not perfect. And actually, one more thing I want to say about perfect people, because I got slightly some of this pattern also, is that what made a difference to me do something about it is when I realized how other people feel in my presence, like trying to be perfect. And also, of course, pressure that it puts on me. I realized that people don't feel at ease with perfect people, so called. And it's actually very, it doesn't give you a freedom to be a human being. And the most attractive and wonderful thing, I think, is when we can be with one another as human beings, with all our faults, mistakes, silly habits, and all of that. So that started inspiring me and still inspires me. So that's why I'm so imperfect with you here today as well. Hopefully, I'm making some sense though. And the last profile I want to mention here is a controller. So it's a fourth profile and it's controller, and it's someone who needs to be in control all the time. It's very crippling profile, and also again I've got some of that. And normally it starts in early years when either things in a family been changing, like you've been moving schools, houses all the time, traveling with your parents. But it doesn't have to come from that, but mainly when you felt emotional insecurity, like one of parents been missing, parents divorced, or one of the parents or both being unstable, like you didn't feel emotional security in a family. That's when it starts, because as a child you realize you have no voice over what's going to happen, over your safety basically, and also you have no way to make a decisions again. So later in life this profile is actually very strong because it's directly to do with your safety. Like you really feel as an adult that if you don't have things under control, and things are not going the way you planned, you are in danger. That's very real feeling that we control freaks have. I think I'm perfect to talk about all these profiles because I think three of them I really resonate with myself to a lot of degree. Controller is someone who yeah, it is like you need to know that kids are fed. You know that you do things and you do them best. You never delegate. You don't trust really people can do a good job, or you can be also very suspicious about if you let other people decide about something for you, that they're going to hurt you in some way. There is a feeling that world is a dangerous place, and so you have to be very, very careful, and therefore you have to have as much in control as possible. So everything needs to be organized in place, and you feel very, very uncomfortable if someone is changing things. Yeah, because you need to know what's going to happen. Basically, you're trying to predict things which might happen without even realizing. Of course, we don't know the future, but you're trying to predict things and trying to create the scenarios of what you're actually going to do and how you're going to act if those things happen. Is very, very tiring thing to do, and to live your life and operate on this level. And of course, the key is to let go, but it's easier said than done, because often people who have this sense of control are absolutely exhausted. Of course, it's very exhausting because you don't let anyone to do anything. I had to learn and transform this very, very hard way, and it also connected with my burnout, uh, or led towards my burnout, this profile. And yeah, it is very exhausting, and that's letting go thing is extremely difficult. So what I would say from my own experience, start letting go of the little things. Like people who are really close to you, like mom or your husband, if you love him and know that he loves you and trusts you, like little things, and start getting the new evidence for the actual fact that people mean well and that they can help and support you, and you can pull back and relax and let go. It's very, very important to start having these new experiences and to recognize that, you know, the pitfall with controllers is that life is so unpredictable. And in reality, we can control so little so little in life. Of course, we can take a responsibility and we can take an action. So, within our range. But there is a lot of things that life is dynamic. A lot of things change all the time. So for controllers to have things under control all the time is impossible task. And so basically you live every day like you are failing. And it's not that you are failing, it's the profile that is making you feel this way. So that's something that I'm glad I can share with you, because it's not something that is not. It's almost like a prison. All these profiles, to certain degrees, are some kind of prison that we live willingly or unconsciously inside of, and we don't need to. That's one of the reason why I'm sharing all this, because we don't need to. There is a way out, and as I mentioned earlier, the way out of all of these profiles, or combination of these profiles, is to recognize them, recognize that, wow, this is my strategy to survive life, and get, not making it wrong, but really get fascinated by, like, wow, I've been operating this way all this time. And maybe even admit, I had to admit at the beginning that actually I don't even know how it would look like or what I would do if I don't do this, because I'm so used to doing it all the time and doing it this way, and thinking this way, and daily habits, things that I do on everyday basis, I do, really being inside of this profile, or more of these profiles. So I needed to really admit to myself that, and allow myself to go a little bit like bankrupt in a way, in a safe way, but bankrupt in a way that, wow, this is not working for me. And a lot of times it happens to us when we are in burnout, or when we have these kind of health issues. A lot of times that actually paradoxically, serves us. So it just like pushes us really to do something about it, because a lot of times as a human beings, if we don't have that that some kind of warning bell that is strong enough to ring loudly, we don't do anything about it. So that's another reason why I'm sharing this, to make you aware of it, so you can even like have a support. If you don't know where to start, please let me know, or reach out, or we can have a conversations, or have a conversation with someone that you trust. Because a lot of times, and I always say that when we stay in our own head, we don't come across anything new. So first of all, recognizing our our pattern is very important, to get awareness, like, wow, this is how I operate, this is what I do. And then another step is noticing it. And what I would also say is to share about it to people that you trust, or people who can support you, to share about it. Because when you get it out there in communication, then is more likely that in conversation you are going to discover, not only discover something new, but also, you then can have someone who is accountable, and it can be a really good friend who, stands for you, or coach, or, someone. But it needs to be almost like one-to-one, someone who is going to be accountable, who is going to say to you in very kind, loving way, like, Monica, you're doing it again, sweetie. Like, yeah. So even when you fail to notice things, which we do because it's so normal for us operating in this way, someone else is noticing it, and then you can put something in place, or it's a process. So it's very, very healthy to have some kind of structure, like, of support. So you can build that new muscle, that new pattern in your brain until it's natural to you. That's why I love doing my programs, and my programs are never shorter than 12 weeks, because it takes time. Things don't transform over the period of time. They can change for a little while, but they go back to the old pattern very quickly. So get out there in communication with people, and then, yeah, be patient and be compassionate with yourself. At the end of the day, you are a human being, and that's actually what is beautiful about you. These flaws and these imperfect things that we all are. This is very, very great, actually. Imagine that we would all be walking here like, I don't know, perfect version of some kind of. I mean, we would be robots. We wouldn't be human beings, right? So just take it as a nice discovery, as something that that is inspires you, that you see as a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's no tunnel, of course, and but as a light of something that pulls you in order to have more fulfilling life. You know, something that tickles you and like, wow, you know, I wonder how my life would be like if I let go of this, or if I don't feel the need to do this way, or, you know, if I have allow myself to have more space for this. You know, for example, like, you know, Superwoman, she never allows herself to spend like day in a spa. And, you know, first time I ever done that by myself on my own, it was like, oh my god, you know, the level of happiness and joy, and I just, oh, you know, it was overwhelming. It's just so beautiful when, you know, and this is what this work does to us. So, guys, I hope you enjoy this talk. That was so imperfect. Like my volume is not working, my light is not working, and you know, I'm just hoping that I made sense and I contributed with this talk. I actually haven't been very well for past 2 weeks because I had some kind of virus stomach type of problems from my travels, so as my whole family. So I was even doubting whether I'm going to be streaming this weekend, but something woke me up 4 o'clock this morning, and I had a need to write this article, and so I came on a camera and very imperfectly I shared all this with you with a faith that is going to make a difference at least to one of you, or, you know, some kind of aha moment. If it did, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. If there is any way I can support you, um, please let me know. I want to be here for you. You know, I just love our interactions. I love what you get at the end. I love people, full stop. You know, and I love people because they are human beings just like me. So imperfect and so wonderfully messed up. No, I'm saying it with really love in my heart, and so wonderfully actually perfect in their imperfection. So lots of love to you guys. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you again in 2 weeks' time.